Come here. Come here.
All right, y'all. We are live, and we just had a really good off-camera conversation with Patrice's two boys. And honey, watch out, world, because they got some things coming up. A talk show, $1 billion business. I'm so excited.
Come on through, children.
Come
Come
on through.
on.
The children. Yes. The children got ideas. You hear me? They got things that they want to do. You better speak it life. Yes. I was here for it, for all of it.
All right.
Man.
Let me
So,
make sure I have this. I'm sharing it.
Me too. I'm sharing. Y'all come on in, make yourself comfortable. Say hello. Let us know that you're here.
Hey, y'all. All right. You know, I got to get the sharing thing together.
I'll
Share
do
on the
the
right
same
page.
thing. Exactly. I'll do the same thing. Hold on, y'all. Y'all come in, say hey so we can see that you're here. Okay. I think I got it. All right. Got it. Hey, welcome.
That's what I want. Okay. Got it. All right. I'm good.
Okay, I think I'm good too. I just gotta find it again. Think I'm good. Hi, Carolee. Your nephews was just asking where you were. They were just
Auntie Caroline's going to be on. Saying the name wrong.
Auntie Carol was on last time. I told them, but they wanted to be your best friend. Okay, all right, y'all. So we are live. We are ready. We got the pages. This broadcast shared, so we are ready to go. So welcome to another episode of Relationship Talks. I am your host, Siobhan Carter, the You Relationship Coach. And what that means is I'm passionate about all things concerning relationships, especially the relationship that you have with yourself. And at this point, I don't even know if I need to introduce who this young lady is because she has
I'm a
been.
regular.
You are a regular. She has been on this platform so many times. So she is just, a reoccurring guest. Miss Patrice Salmon, my sister, my good girlfriend. Yeah. So I'm
Hey,
so happy
y'all.
on once again. So if you know Patrice, you know this is going to be a great conversation. But if this is your first time tuning in, Patrice, what would you like them to know about you?
Well, I am Patrice. Has it been a year? A little bit less than a year. I started a relationship blog on Instagram, and it was birthed out of dating after divorce. Most of you all know me because I've been on here, but those of you that don't, I've been divorced. I was married for approximately 10 years. Now I've been divorced for about 3 years. Wow. And I've just had such an interesting journey with dating, and dating has helped me evolve, grow, heal, and God just placed it on my heart to share it with other people and share my journey and my experience, and to encourage others that are interested in dating, specifically online dating, to do so. I've had successes, I've had failures, I've had amazing stories. So that's how I'm here, and that's how I got started. And yeah, so I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you, Siobhan, for giving me an opportunity to come on again, because I love talking about relationship stuff too.
Absolutely. That's our jam. So we got to get together and talk about it. Hey, Mama Pam. So Mama Pam is watching. She said, my grandbabies are one of a kind. Hey, Jackie girl. Yes.
Hey, y'all.
All right. So, y'all, tonight we're going to talk about closure. Is closure needed in relationships? Like, is that necessary? But before we get into that conversation, I just had to talk about this with my girlfriend to see what her thoughts are, because this thing has been floating around social media today. And so I just want to talk about it. And if you follow me, then you've seen it on my social media platform today. And I'm trying to pull it up, but technology won't let me be great. Okay, so here we go. I just want to talk about it briefly before we get into today's discussion. And I want y'all to chime in. So I want this to be an interactive discussion throughout this hour, but y'all got to give us your thoughts about this. So here you have this guy. He paid for this woman. He flew this woman out to wherever he lives. And so he said, hey, are you checked into the hotel? Let me know what's going on. I called you 3 times. Like, what's going on? So she was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I just checked in 30 minutes ago. My phone was charging because it died. And I'm getting out the shower now. So he like, all right, bet. I'm on the way to see you. She was like, huh? He said, what you mean, huh? I'm on my way to hang out with you. Is that an issue? I just flew you out here. What's the deal? She said, hang out in what way? He says, Tessa, we've been talking 5 months. I flew you out here and got you a hotel. I want to see you, babe. Why you acting brand new? So she says, it's late. I don't want company tonight is all. I'm tired. It's literally after midnight. Oh, okay, bet. I'll be over in the morning then. I'll let you sleep. Over in the morning just to hang out as friends, right? What? He said, can we FaceTime? Like, what's going on? She was like, my phone is still charging. Why? He said, why are you acting different? Do you not want to hang out? I didn't know we were just friends. I would not have flown you out here. I don't F my friends. We've been sending news and sexting on FaceTime. What am I missing here? Help me understand. And so she says, I feel like we're rushing things. I don't want to have sex or anything. Just hang out as friends, if that's okay. You're amazing and a good friend. I don't want to upset you. So he says, upset me? I'm livid. I paid over $1,000 for you to come out here. I don't do that for friends. You know what? No worries. Since we're friends, I need my money back. $977.56. So she said, I don't have that. Why are you acting this way? I just want to take things slow. Please don't be mean. He said, take it slow with me not flying you out here. You played me. So checkout is at 12 p.m. tomorrow. I'm canceling the other 2 days. I'm also canceling the flight back. You can figure it out on your own. So he says, wow, so is this how you do people? I don't have money to get home. And she says, at least allow me to fly back. I'll check out tomorrow. He said, nah, lose my number and have a nice life. And then he stopped responding. She said, I'm sorry, you blocked me. Please pick up. I don't have the funds to get home. Shaking my head. Baby, so what do you think about this friend? Like, was he wrong? Was she wrong? What's your take on it?
Now, I'm a little extreme when I get mad. I'll go to 0 to 100. So I can kind of understand how he feels. But I mean, yeah, I think she was team too much. I mean, especially like at first when I started reading it, when I read it, I'm like, But when he got to the part where he was saying that they were sexting and sending nudes, I don't understand what the problem was. Even if she didn't feel like being intimate, why he couldn't come see? I'm trying to figure out why he didn't pick her up from the airport.
Right. I don't understand.
I just don't understand. I mean, maybe he could have let her at least fly back home because clearly he had to know her financial situation. But yeah, sis, I mean, what you thought you were just gonna get a free trip? I kind of understand his reaction. It was a little 0 to 10-ish with him, cutting her off. But yeah, you're not gonna come and just take a free trip. And it don't even seem like it was all about sex for him. It was just the fact that I haven't seen you in 5 months. I've been excited about you coming. We've been talking about it, and you're not gonna let me come to your house, like to the hotel that I don't know if it was about him paying for it. It was the fact in the beginning, it's the fact that you being weird and you acting brand new. So I kind of get it.
Yeah. And I think my thing is, listen, it's been 5.5 months. She has been giving him the impression that it's about to go down. As soon as I get there, I'm gonna break you off. I'm sending news, we sexting, like we've already done it. We just haven't, physically. And so it's like, what? I don't understand the flipping the script. Yes, she has the right to change her mind and all that kind of stuff. But you know the rules when you get flued out. Like, let's not be brand new about this.
Or if she really felt that way, sis should have paid her own way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? I just want to know. I'm just trying to figure out, as a woman, what could have happened that caused her to flip the script like that? Because at first I was like, well, maybe she saw him, his breakfast thing. She didn't even see
We
him.
seen him.
She didn't even see him.
I don't know. I don't know if she had this visual in her mind or this thought like, oh, it's not, you know how we get caught up with these thoughts watching TV, talking to our friend's child.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what she thought, but she had to be interested. I don't know what she was thinking, but he fixed her.
He said,
he got her all the way together.
He got her all the way together. It's like, I get it. I can understand.
He should have played that differently.
Yeah, you know, I get it. I get him being mad. He was like, look, I was already ready. I was thinking about that thing while you was on this plane before you even got here. When I booked the ticket, I was thinking about that thing.
Yeah,
now
I'm seeing him all the way.
It's like, listen, ladies, we can't be the victim all the time. We got to just
no, she should have paid her own way. And when you pay your own way, you have leverage to, and not saying that he had full control, but the expectation is different. Then you could be like, look, I'll see you. I mean, it takes the pressure off. You ain't no money, you stay home.
That's what I'm saying. Don't come out. My grandma always told me, have your own money. Like, don't you get stuck nowhere and you don't got no money. So,
period.
Yeah. So let's see what people are saying. So Carly said, I don't understand. Shaking my head. Just, I don't understand.
Of course you don't understand.
Reggie says, don't make sexual comments until you are ready for sex. Right. Like, don't do that. Come on.
And why go?
Why go? Like, what are you trying to do? Were you going out there to see somebody else? Like, what was that about?
They had not done the sexting on FaceTime and all of that. I could see her possibly feeling this way, but sis.
Right. Yeah. And Miss Nelly says, wait, first of all, never think anything is free. I mean, you know, the man done paid all this way. He said, I don't pay for my friends to just
No. He just wanted to see her, and then see her. She was gonna be there a couple days. You tired? All right, let me just come check you out and see you in person. Feel you?
And he even said, "All right, I'll let you rest. I'll be there in the morning." Like, all right, I won't be.
Yeah, probably.
She was like, "And we gonna just hang out as friends, right, girl? No, you ain't started out as friends. Don't do it.
No."
Tiffany, hey, girl. So Mama Pam says our choices have consequences. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. So yeah. I wanted to start the show out with that because it was just something.
I wonder what kind of closure she needed.
Boy blocked her. He said, listen, I don't have time for this. You're playing games. Run me my money.
Yes.
Oh my God. So let's talk about closure. When a relationship ends, sometimes we seek closure. And I'm thinking it's more women than men. And guys, y'all can chime in and let us know. Do y'all seek closure when a relationship ends? I don't know. Let us know. But for a woman, a lot of times we need closure. Do you think it's needed? Like, let me know your thoughts about closure. Do we need it?
So Siobhan, when you call me about this question, I'm like, I don't know. So I've had some time to think about it. And, I think it depends. It really, really depends on the situation. It's all situational. And I've been in a lot of situations. So, and I'll try to be as transparent as I can with leaving names out. But I think it depends. So like, for instance, if it's something that I'm done with and I'm done, I don't need no closure because I had closure 2 months ago. It just took me some time to really I've been checked out.
Right.
So I'm just done and I'm done. I'm done. So it's over. I could explain to you why, but I'm done because I've been done for a while now, right? Or I've been in situations where the plug was pulled on me, and I'm like, wait, hold up, what happened? Like, what happened? Can I know? And I got, I got an answer, or I felt like I didn't get enough information, and I had to deal with that, right? Some things hurt worse than others. Some people we were able to make it was a mutual thing, but I think mutual is not as often. That's kind of rare. Yeah. And I also, we haven't talked about types because I think I thought about this today. There's types of closures as well. And we could touch on that. But closure comes in different forms. And I feel like I have experienced the spectrum of this where I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. And then the person is seeking closure from me. I'm trying to get closure from them. But I'm, Siobhan, I've been pondering, like, what is the definition even of closure? Is it you trying to heal? Is it a timeline? These are the things that I've been pondering. And I'm like, maybe we could come to a resolution on this today. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a good question. And before I chime in and share my perspective on it, I want to share what the people are saying. So Tiffany says closure is a trap.
Really? Okay.
That's what she says. She said we have to be strong enough. She said we have to be strong enough to find closure on our own. That's thought. So Nellie says, no, I don't need it. When I'm done, I'm done. Okay. All right. So I guess it could vary. I didn't look it up to see what it means, but I think it really just depends on the person. So for me, I think closure means I am finalizing things in this relationship. And there is a conversation or a mutual understanding or trying to seek a mutual understanding of why the relationship is ending. So we are having a conversation about it. Like, this is ending. This is my perspective on it. This is your perspective on it. So like you, I have experienced different things as it relates to closure. I have not had closure. I have just shut down and made up in my mind that it was over and no more conversation. And then I have had conversation. So for me, the way that I'm wired and the way my emotions are set up, it is healthy for me to have a conversation about it. And thankfully, I've been able to do that with the people that I have dated. So because when I didn't have the conversation and I just ended it, there were still questions in my mind. So I felt like something was unresolved. I didn't get the person's perspective. I didn't hear, because most of the time it was me making the decision to end the relationship. So I think that's a different spin. Like you said, if it happens to you, then it's like, dang, you feel like you're left just with so many questions. But because I was the one that made the decision, it was like, okay, well, this is why I'm doing it. Let me at least give the other person, the courtesy and the understanding as to why. And when I didn't do that, there were so many questions that were left. So for me, closure is necessary. And I haven't had a situation where I wasn't able to have a conversation with the person. So.
And I feel like I would prefer closure, prefer for it to be like a mutual thing. But like how you said, the way I'm wired is like, once I decide to go all in with a person, I'm all in. And most of the time it takes me a while, like I'm pondering, should I? But once I'm in, it takes me a while to come out. So if we're coming out together or I'm coming out on my own, it's one thing. And then I don't mind having a dialogue all day long and explaining. But when it's pulled from underneath me, and then I can't really get it all out and get a proper understanding the way I need to based on how I am, then it leaves me in a bad place. For a long time. And I'm like, and it takes me a while to get out of it. And I've had a recent experience that happened to me, and I wound up getting closure in a different way. I didn't get closure in a communicative, I don't know if that's the right word, way. I got a closure in a different type of way.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I have learned, like, if we can, now I know situations are, you can't control the other person and we can't, there's nothing we can do. But if we can at least give the person the courtesy of saying, hey, this is why I'm making this decision. This is why I'm thinking this no longer works. You have invested time, your emotions are invested. And so to just cut it off, and I'm talking to myself, and that's why I chose not to do that again, was to just cut it off is just so abrupt, because you cut it off 1 minute, you're fine, right? The person has no idea that things are about to go downhill. And then the next day, nothing. I don't want to talk to you. And just everything is shut down. That's a lot to deal with.
And it gives you PTSD too, because it puts you on edge. And there's after effects for the other person, like, you know, for the people that experience that. So, you know, I don't know, I may have done that to some people, and I apologize for that. You know, I try to sympathize. You know, matter of fact, you know, I have.
Me too.
Yeah, you know, they may. I think their perception of it is that it was abrupt. Let me say that. But I guess in my mind, I probably feel like it wasn't abrupt. But it probably was, which is unfair to the other person.
And that's the thing. I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to have the conversation, especially if you are the one making the decision. Now, if you are the one that was broken up with, then that's another story. You can't control that. But just changing the narrative about how we handle each other in relationships, in and outside of relationships when we're ending one, because a lot of times we don't handle it well. You know, it's like, oh, I'm done, you know, and so I'm shut down, and so you deal with it. That's not fair, y'all. We done spent all this time with this person. Our emotions are invested. You said you loved them at one point, so you don't love them anymore. Like, you just gonna leave them hanging with all these questions. Like, dang, that's messed up.
Remember, so I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm a guilty. I'm done person.
Yeah. When you done, right?
No. Like, I'll be done. You know. Yeah. I'm done. I'm done. You know. Because it's deeper than just saying I'm done, right? Like, so for me to protect myself and to protect my feelings, I'm always looking for a way out, which is really damaging to the other person that you're with, even when I don't mean it. And I know this is different, but because that has happened to me, or I've seen it so much, I'm always on guard to want to be done and leave before the other person leaves me, which is not good also, because the other person that you're in a relationship with, they're like, oh, so you're gonna break up with me every week? Well, right. If you do the slightest little thing to make me uncomfortable, then I'm trying to break up with you, even though I don't mean it, but I don't want you to break up with me before you break up. I break up with you because I know what that experience feels like. So it's like it's a ripple effect if you really don't grab hold and deal with it properly.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that was my reasons for doing it too. When I felt violated in some way, when I felt disregarded, disrespected, my wall went up, my defenses went up, and then it's like, you never get close to me again. So that's my way of shutting you out, was just cutting off communication. You will no longer have access to me. Well, that's not solving.
But you know, Siobhan, that gives such good perspective. Aha moment. I think that framing it the way you just framed it, with people in relationships are things that I'm talking to myself, to people, like we're just talking, brainstorming, right? We're talking to myself. That gives you a way to not take it so personal, because truthfully, I think maybe when people do that, that may be some of the basis. It's almost like a fake protection. They see something, they feel something that's all too familiar. They don't want to get themselves hurt. They're uncomfortable about something, so they pull out. They pull out, they rip the Band-Aid off and just keep moving. And they really can't talk about it, because if they really, really talk about it, I'm thinking about this, it puts them in a vulnerable place to have to go to talk about a pain that they don't even want to talk about anymore.
I'm telling you, and that is the defense mechanism. We don't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want to be vulnerable. I don't want you to know that, hey, you hurt me. What you said bothered me.
Right. And the person probably didn't even have intentions on bothering you or hurting you. It was reminiscent of what you went through in your past. Wow.
It triggered a past event that had nothing to do with them. But there was a red light that went on, a warning sign that went on within me that said, danger, danger, you're no longer safe. And so we got to put them walls up. Because I'm no longer safe. And that's, that's what happens. A lot of us do that in relationships. And so it just makes it so complicated when we don't deal with it. So sometimes we're getting out of stuff when really, if we would have just sat and had a conversation about it, then we would have resolved it. It's a conflict resolution. And I'm telling you, like, the guy that I'm dating now, I just had my track shoes on. Like this, I'm being just real talk. Like I just did this, so I know how it happens and how prevalent it is when we don't deal with our stuff. And so thankfully, you know, we were able to work through it and talk through it. But it's like, look, Siobhan, you got to get your stuff together. What is that? You need to deal with that. What is another way to be outside of trying to run all the time? That's not healthy.
I'm a runner too, girl. I wear Nikes. I don't know what kind of shoes you wear.
Them things laced up, right? Like ready. But it's like, that's not healthy. I gotta learn how to stand 10 toes down and learn how to resolve things. He is not a threat to me. I'm not in danger. And so, hey, this is how I'm feeling. How can we work through this? That's all that took. You know, that was it. And thankfully, he's like, girl, okay, I don't know why I'm still dealing with you, but I'm thankful that
it's hard. It's hard. I'm experiencing something similar. Like, like, oh, that don't look right. And then, you know, we auditors, right? So we need an abundance of information. Just we need support pictures. You know, that's just the way. So if it don't look right, if it don't 2 + 2 is 4. Like, what we talking about? You lying?
Exactly. Our analytical minds will come up with the story that's so convincing, and then we start living out that story.
Right, I am a whole story. You hear me?
A whole story, a bestseller, and we never involved the person in this story. We never gave them the opportunity to say, "No, those facts are not true."
You be embarrassed to tell a fact that you done made up in your mind, so then you can't. Girl, listen,
listen. Let me tell you. So, and we're still talking about closure in a different way, but we're peeling back the layer to talk about what is underneath some things that are unresolved and why sometimes we don't seek or get closure in situations because we don't always handle, you know, relationships or the ending of relationships well. So, yeah. Well, let's see what the people are saying because they were chiming in, then they got quiet because they were like,
okay. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, got an aha moment.
We got an aha moment. I think y'all can feel us. I think maybe y'all processing and trying to see if y'all do it too. Let's see what we're saying. So Nelly said closure depends on the person. Closure is the need to know why. Anthony says usually the person that invested more needs the closure. And Nelly says it's so much as a female. It's so much, you know, as a female that we can take. When we have done all we can, I'm at peace, whatever. Okay. All right.
That is a fact.
Yeah. And Tiffany said, I said it's a trap because sometimes we never get closure, quote unquote. And if we rely on the need for it, it can keep us stuck. But I realize that the closure has to come from me and me alone. Yeah. So it definitely is getting to a space of resolves within ourselves because especially if the person doesn't give us, you know, a sense of understanding or even isn't willing to have a conversation, you do have to find it within yourself. So it is more about you than the other person. So yeah, I definitely agree with that, Tiffany.
Oh yeah, Tiffany. Yeah, I'm still working on how you figure out, find it. I mean, it comes to a point where, well, I'll share my story.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ali said it all depends on who's doing the dumping.
Right. It really does.
It does. So I understand it. And Carolee says, shaking my head, whole stories that aren't true. Stop the madness. Like, listen, whole stories. Like, look at Patrice's face.
If y'all ever need a story, just call me.
Right, it's a good one.
Matter of fact, don't call me.
It's convincing, it's compelling. Like there's no way you can repeat any of that. You can't.
Like I mean, you can't punch no holes in the story. Like
yeah. So let's talk. You talked about the different types of closure. Let's talk about that because you said you wanted to go into that.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. Today I was driving and I thought about a recent incident that happened to me. You know, I was dating this guy. Just real talk, y'all. I was dating this guy, and he abruptly ended things. Just abruptly ended, and I just was, you know, I was like, "What happened?" You know, and I'm real talk. It took me a while to overcome it because it blindsided me in a way. No, it did blindside me. It just took it. I was caught off guard, right?
Yeah.
And to add insult to injury, he went back to his ex-girlfriend.
Ooh.
Right. So then I'm like, oh my God, you're doing this whole comparison thing and what's going on. And so over time I got over it, I got over it. And so recently, I'm in my car and we'll talk. I look at my phone and I have an email from him. And I know this girl, right? An email asking to hang out. And not only that, he's calling me. Right.
Sir.
So he sends me email, calls me, and leaves a message on one of my Instagram posts. So in that moment, I was like, that's the closure I needed, because I ain't missing nothing. If I was been with him, I would have been possibly going through that. And come to find out, I hear they're engaged. So not only are you engaged, but and no telling who else he called. Because if I knew how his temperament is, he might have went down the list. But so act sometime, or when you see a picture, you be like, that's what I was crying about.
Yeah, like I dodged.
Is that what I was really upset about? And then my mom used to ask me this question all the time. Patrice, what are you really missing?
Oh, that's so good.
What are you really, really missing? And so when I thought, when you think about it, it's like you be sad, but then it's things that happen once you're really, really out of it. And it's like, that could be me. I ain't missing nothing. I'm so glad I'm out of that situation. God, thank you for delivering me. And so that's why I say sometimes it's an act, or something happens, or you see a picture and you be like, so that's what I mean by there's different forms of closure. I'm like, that was a type of closure for me. Even though I had moved past it, that stayed and sealed and delivered. Like, I ain't feeling that at all. I'm good.
Just think about the audacity it has to take. You cut somebody off, and then months later, you just randomly reach out and like, hey, you want to do this? Like, what? What are you?
And you got a girlfriend.
What are you doing?
What you doing? You get your life together.
What's really happening? Come on, sir.
Right.
Let's not. We're too grown for this. We're
exactly.
Almost in your 40s, so it's like we're still grown. We're grown out here. We got jobs and houses and responsibilities. Like let's be an adult about the situation.
And the thing about it is too, like for her, and even for me, most women, or just people in general, men too, you're investing your time, your heart, and stuff. And so when the other person is not on the up and up, and it, that's frustrating. Like I'm making a commitment to you and you doing all this stuff in the background. It's just too much.
It is.
It's just too much.
Yeah, it really is. So so it's sometimes, like you said, when you see things, it's just a reminder, like you're good. It ended, you were hurt by it, but it ended, and it needed to, because look what you would have been dealing with.
Right. I mean, it's almost like the way he did it really worked out in my favor in a way, right? Because I the place that I was in, it was so shocking to me. I would have wanted more, like, please explain, and he wasn't really explaining he gave me information. He gave me his why. But my thing is like, why? Like, what happened? I wanted more information that he just really wasn't willing to give. And so looking back, that was he did me a favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jackie says, I feel like this should be a Zoom. We need to, so we can talk. I know, right? So we can have some girlfriend conversation, because I'm sure y'all have some things that is just too much to type.
Right. What you got to say, Jackie? Type it.
I know. I'm curious to know what you have to say, Jackie. And so Carolee said it's definitely hard. Knowing helps to cut these stories off quicker. Sometimes, because sometimes you can know, and then it just brings more questions. So, but I do agree with Tiffany that no matter what, there has to be a sense of resolve within yourself. You got to find it for yourself so that you can move on and not be stuck, whatever that looks like for you.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about a closure conversation, right? Like, what in the world, let's say you got to the point where it's like, all right, I don't think I can move forward in this relationship anymore. What are some healthy ways to get closure? What could you say?
Well, I could just give you some examples of what I've said. I mean, like, I like for me when I was trying to break up, I did. It was over for me. And it's like, listen, and this is real talk. I'm like, you are a great person. We're just not a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
Like, just real talk. We just really not. Like, I mean, let's be honest about this. Are we going to keep in this vicious cycle? Let's depart where we could find the people that would truly help us to thrive and be our best selves. So that is a way that I have done it. I knew it wasn't hard. I mean, it wasn't an easy conversation to have, but I've had to have it, and I try to give it some time and some space. I didn't like cut the person off abruptly. And I've had to do it a couple times. For my, on my end, I just feel like when it was done to me, I wasn't afforded the same necessarily opportunity as I've given other people. So
yeah, I think the healthiest closure that I've had was when I ended a relationship with someone that I was with for 2 years, and I wanted to have a conversation face to face. We talked over the phone at first, but I felt like it was necessary to have a conversation face to face. And so we talked on the phone, and some time went by, and then we talked in person. And I really just shared my heart. Like, this is what I've been feeling. And I had talked about what I had been feeling over the course of the relationship. So it wasn't necessarily anything new. But it was things that I had brought up that it's just like, yeah, I'm just starting to see that this isn't going to work. And so I laid it out what I saw and why I felt like, we weren't going to work as in a relationship, but we can still be, friends at some point once we kind of take some time to heal. But it was a very grown and mature conversation. We both got to share. We both got a sense of understanding. There were even some tears shed. It was sad having to depart from this relationship because I had invested so much time and energy and emotion. But I just knew that I would be doing myself a disservice if I continued. So it's like, okay, I got to make this tough decision. It's not going to be easy, but I'm grateful that we were able to have that conversation, that we respected each other enough to be able to say, okay, we're having this conversation. And that was the first time I had done that. And that's kind of set the precedence for if I do have to do that again, at least I want to give the person the courtesy and the respect to have a conversation about it and hear both sides.
Right. And, and what gives me comfort, like I rather, I try to explain it's not about me being with somebody else. It's just this isn't working. I think it bothers me when someone's splitting up with me and then you're going to be with somebody else. It's like, is it about like, it brings on this other layer of stuff, right? And so, but that's beautiful. That's really powerful when people could just mutually understand, or you could just respect the other person's position when they lay it out. It may be hurtful, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
Now I have experienced, and it's another reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I have experienced a situation where because I didn't get closure and I moved on too quickly, the relationship that I moved on too quickly and didn't work because I didn't have closure with the previous relationship. So there were unresolved emotions that I honestly had to go back and explore.
Really?
I hadn't dealt with those emotions. And it's unfair to the person that you're moving on with, because you I moved on too quickly. And then now I got to circle back to be like, dang, I'm still thinking about this other person. And it's like, I got to deal with my stuff, and it's not fair. So that's why I say some type of closure, like take the time to really get to a place of resolve with the person before you move forward. Because you may find yourself just.
So when you mean abrupt, like you just was like, I'm done, y'all didn't talk about it. And then you just moved on. And then when you really had a chance to sit and think about it, you was like, oh, we probably could have worked that out, or we could have talked through that. And you had, wow.
And so it messed me up because I never got the person off my mind. They just never went anywhere because it was not resolved. And we had too much that we had gone through, to just abruptly move on. But I didn't, me and my pride and like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need him.
Right.
No, sis, that's a lot that you dealt with this person. So you gotta give yourself some time. And sure enough,
you know what? That could, hearing stuff like that, I hope people, especially me, if you think about the situations you've been in, that could have possibly been the other person's issue. They moved on too quickly, or they didn't know how to express themselves. So we carry a lot of hurt when really it's the other person's issue.
A lot of times, because we just aren't handling relationships in a healthy way, and it's
what it is too. Like how we're talking about it, and we've grown, we've done some work. We have a group of friends that are introspective and try to do work and figure out the root cause of stuff. And but we get hurt, and then we're hurting other people, but it's because we don't know. So a person cut us off. Now we don't want to be hurt like that. So now we're starting to, so it becomes this vicious cycle, and then everybody hurt.
Everybody hurt. And it's so unfair. And I think that's, if I've learned nothing else, just, matters of the heart are to be handled very delicately. And I think, in the past, I have not handled them as a delicate matter. It's just like haphazardly, I'll jump in, jump out. But it's like, come on, these are people's hearts. These are people's lives, and I really just started to see the severity of it and the impact of it, and it's like, okay, I gotta do better. Like, I can't even blame the other person. I gotta get myself together. Like, seriously.
Yeah, we have to be accountable for our own actions.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, girl.
Girl, I know, right? So Tiffany say, I am guilty of ghosting nice men because I hate hurting anybody's feelings. Yeah. So I try to just fall back and disappear. But there was one guy who would not let me off the hook. The truth was, I was still hung up on my ex, but I really didn't want to say that. But I eventually did, and actually ended up being in a relationship with the guy because he was so persistent. A few months down the line, he ghosted me, and I was the one wanting closure, and he wouldn't give me a real reason.
What? Wow. You give him an opportunity, Tiffany, and then he ghosts you?
He ghosted. Was he on some get back stuff? Was he like, I wonder if he was like, she ghosted me, so I'm gonna tell her how I feel. Was he being petty, or just something happened and didn't work out? That's interesting. So when the shoe was on the other
foot, we need a Zoom session. Jackie, right?
No, because it's like,
I want to know more about that. That's you see, that's the type of stuff that irritates me too, because it's like something happens, and it's like I knew and then they break up with you first, and it's like I gave you all these opportunities, and then you break up with me. It'd be like, dang, I should have given you a punch.
The nerve, right? That's what we get into.
The audacity. It's the audacity for me.
It's the audacity for me. Right. So Mama Pam said, well, he didn't know how to deal with the hurt. Okay. Maybe that's it. Yeah. That's unfortunate. It's sorry to hear that, Tiffany.
Tiffany.
That he ended up ghosting you. That's crazy.
Yeah, because she went. It's almost like you taking a risk. All right, well, let me give it a shot, and then you see, that's the type of stuff that keep you on edge. And if you don't deal with yourself, then you go around. Well, for me, I'm still working through some stuff. I'm just
you know why we're all working through stuff, because relationships are really a mirror for us. It really reveals and exposes the stuff that we need to deal with, or some truths about ourselves that sometimes we don't be wanting to face. I don't want to see certain things. I want to have this perception about myself. I don't want to deal with the ugly side all the time. But when you have somebody who is, who you're in relationship with, and they may be pointing out some things about you that's not so good, it's like, dang, I don't want to deal with that. Go on about your business. Like, because you're helping me deal with my stuff. Or you
I don't like that type of stuff neither. But I mean, let me so
go ahead, friend. What
so I don't know how to get the words out. But I was riding in a car with somebody who was like, you know, you probably need to go to counseling. And I was like, I was just so taken aback. I mean, he was right. I mean, he, you know, when a man calls you out on your stuff and you're not used to that, and they do it like in a loving way.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say when you got a lot of mouth like me? I just sat in the car and I just sat back because I mean, he wasn't lying, sis.
He wasn't lying.
He was like, you gonna break up with me every week,
right? Oh man, we need a support.
You know
group.
that's not healthy, right?
It's not. Oh, we need a support group so we can help each other navigate through these relationship challenges, y'all.
Yeah, but I appreciate that because the average guy, what most dudes do when they see you acting like that, they just fall back and be like, I ain't got time for that. So it's a beautiful thing when somebody is like, you know, that's really not cool that you act like that, because you can have, like, I have male friends that call me out on my stuff.
Yeah.
They call me out on my stuff on a regular, you know, but when it's the guy you're dating, and that's different, you know, because you already see all their flaws. And it's like the nerve when you don't tell me about mine and then be right.
Right. I don't want you to
try to resolve it. The nerve.
Right. I just dealt with that. He was like, so you're not going to apologize? I ain't do nothing wrong.
What I did wrong.
And then you know what I had to admit to him, like probably a few minutes later. Dang, I ain't want you to be right, and I didn't want to be wrong, because that puts me in a vulnerable space, and I didn't want to be vulnerable. That's what I had to tell him, and because that was my truth. I did not want to apologize because that meant you were right, and I wanted to be right.
Well, and you know, for me, I feel like your actions made me feel this way. So if your actions wasn't the way they were, then I probably wouldn't have responded the way that I did, because you know, it triggered something from what I've seen in the past. But truth be told, my response and my behavior triggered something in him, so it becomes this vicious cycle, right? And so who stops it? I don't know. And so, like, for me, it's just easy to like be like, well, you know what, I'm done, I'm going to move on. But what happens is I have to deal with it at some point. So I'd rather deal with it maybe with somebody who's going to be honest with me versus somebody that's just going to have an attitude with me and then we break up anyway. So I mean, it's a hard decision to make. I'm not going to lie.
I'm telling you, because you just hit something. If I don't deal with it in this relationship, I'm going to face it again in the next relationship. So I'm going to either keep running or I'm going to stop and deal with it with somebody who's equally willing to put in the work with me. It ain't going to be fun. It's going to be messy, but at least we are committed to working through it. And that's what we want, right? We say we want somebody that's committed, that's going to fight for us and all this kind of stuff.
That's what we say, girl. That's what we say. It sounds good.
It sounds good till you in there.
Yeah. Caroline tells me constantly that because if I don't say it, she said it, I may have to hear about it. She tells me I need to deal with it at some point in time. When you're gonna deal with it, when you get in the next relationship, you're gonna still have to deal with it. I mean, she's right.
It's so true. And so that's what I'm learning and at 43, and I'm still going to be learning at 53 and all of that. But right now at 43, I'm learning how to close the car doors and go on this journey and not try to jump out. Like, close the door and just go on the journey, and whatever happens in that car, we're going to work through it, you know, as long as it's not anything just drastic or really unhealthy. But, you know, I feel like I'm in a good space, a healthy space, and we can just work through it. Close the door, Siobhan. You're not stopping to get out. Close the door and drive and to go on this journey and deal with it. So that's my lesson to myself.
I feel like I'm being attacked right now.
I'm attacked.
I feel like you're in my business.
I'm in my business. Like, I think this is therapeutic. That's probably why I was trying to run from this topic, y'all. So
because we wasn't even supposed to do this, y'all. Siobhan changed her mind, and I was like, oh, cool, because I ain't got to answer anyway, right? And then she was like, oh, no, we doing this topic. I was like, oh, no.
Because it kept coming up, and I did not want to talk about it, but it just kept coming up.
Well,
so
I'm glad you did, because I got an aha moment tonight that him doing what he did could have been for multiple reasons. He had to circle back. And, you know, and truth be told, people need to be with who who they really want to be with, truthfully.
Absolutely.
So I'm not even mad, truthfully, about it. If that is who makes you happy, I don't want you to be with me, and I'm not the person that make your heart skip a beat.
Right, exactly.
I want you to look at me and feel flutter, flutter, flutter. And if old girl make you flutter, 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 then could you just not have looped me into your foolishness?
Yeah, and that's why we're having this conversation, y'all. Let's deal with our stuff and not bring another person into our stuff that's unresolved, and then we end up hurting them, and then circling back trying to get closure and get to a place of resolve. So if nothing else, deal with your stuff, deal with the feelings that you have for the person that you just got out of the relationship with or ending, or even if you're in a relationship, deal with those, have those tough conversations, work through it, fight through it,
because so the thing, I struggle with, because it's like, is it worth it going through it? Right. But then it's like, what do I have to lose, really? Like it. So if I work through it with this person, no matter whether or not I'm destined to be with them, I'm getting better. Yeah. Right. At least the person is being honest with me about something that I clearly need to deal with anyway. And if they were there for that season.
That's it.
And, they were there for that season, and it was a part of the journey.
Absolutely. Like I love that. We don't lose. We're growing in the process. We're learning how to love at a deeper level. And so it's a win-win when we think about it.
It is a win-win. I don't, but when you're going through it, you just don't see it that way.
You don't. It don't feel good, and
we have all these parameters that makes you uncomfortable and this or that. And I'm speaking to myself, like, it's a struggle for me, and it's like, should I even be in a relationship? Should I? Like, it's just too much, but the truth of the matter is, I want to love and I want to be loved too. But it's just not an overnight sensation.
It's not all peaches and cream and roses and like they paint on the movies.
But it can't be, but what, I guess I was just having this conversation earlier today. You think when you first meet somebody, in Patrice's mind, the first 6 months should be, what's up, having a bunch of fun. But I'm learning that's not necessarily true.
It may not. It may not. It may start out rocky, and then that's when you really have to assess, like, okay, what is this?
Right, exactly. It's not supposed to be that way, right? It's not supposed to start off rocky, should it?
But says who? It just depends. Like, you all are creating what you want, and nobody gets to say how your relationship should be because nobody knows.
It's your own love story.
It's your own love story, and I think that's where we get caught up. We're comparing our relationships and how it should start and go and end with other people's relationship, and then we're trying to use them as the measurement. Well, I'm not her and he's not. I got to deal with my stuff and my story and my experiences that shape who I am, and this man has to do the same. Nobody is as unique as we are individually, so I can't compare to somebody else. It has to be unique, and it's just, what are the terms of the agreement that we're gonna come to? That's really what it is. I can't compare somebody else's, but we do it all the time. I do it. Oh, I want this, and I want it to be just like this. How they do on it?
Right. I'm
setting myself up,
and we don't know the backstory of these pictures that we see. We don't know what the people went through, and if one person was patient, if they, you just don't know. That's why comparison is not good.
It's not. It's just setting ourselves up, for failure, because we are placing it's unrealistic expectations that we're putting on our relationship, when just, let's create, how do we want this to go? What space are we creating with each other that's going to work? Because it's only the two of us in it. Those people not in our relationship.
No, they're not.
So we got to figure out, we got to come to an agreement. Okay, how do we want things to go? And we're going to stick to that and challenge each other when we are veering off. And that's really the key.
This is such a therapeutic and healing discussion, and it's timely. And it's my prayer that it's beneficial and help some other people to put some things into perspective, because I'm sure that there's somebody watching or somebody that will watch that hasn't received the closure, or trying to figure out why a person, or why they act the way they act, or why somebody else has treated them a certain way. And this will be eye-opening and help them along their journey.
Yeah, because my therapist always says this, like, I'm not an expert in the process. I'm just modeling the process, right? I'm going through it just as much as anybody else. So I have not arrived, whatever that means. I'm still on a journey, just like everybody else. And so I love to share things that I learned along the way. I'm just modeling the process. That's it. Yeah. Well, we done made it all the way to the end, it's almost, Lord, we got to get off of here, but this has been so good. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
I know. Yeah, I know. Like, I even had an aha moment thank you so much for inviting me again.
Yes, absolutely. It was
I'm glad God placed this on your heart to talk about, even though we both, it wasn't that I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, what will I have to say? But, when God is involved, he deposits and gives information, and he has a way of doing things. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. And thank y'all. I appreciate you coming on and saying yes, and just for the nuggets that you shared tonight. And I thank y'all for tuning in, because you made this, a fruitful conversation as well, just sharing your thoughts and perspectives. And I hope you got something from it, because I know Patrice and I did. So
well, we're still a work in progress. Like, I'm gonna probably wake up tomorrow and be like,
right.
And I'm gonna have to remember what we talked about tonight and calm myself down. Yeah,
exactly. But we are all in this together, y'all. So this has been great. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And Patrice, tell the people how they can stay in touch with you.
So I am on Instagram. I am the Patrice. I'm on Facebook under the same handle. I am the Patrice. And please, I am open to doing speaking engagements, talking about relationship stuff, especially divorce, dating, and things of that nature. So I'm just excited just for the journey that I'm on, that God has me on, and just the ability to share in the way that I do share. I try to be really transparent and candid about my experiences, because there's been some funny moments. And so I'm just thankful for Siobhan just even giving me the opportunity to even come on her platform and to share with you all. So that's it about me.
Thank you, friend. And y'all know y'all gonna see her again, because she is a resident guest on the show. So we'll come up with topics. We just hit each other up, and then we'll have her on again. But so thank y'all for tuning in. And just to let you know, next week's conversation is going to be about mental health and the Black church.
Ooh.
And we have a doctor, a therapist that's coming on to talk about it. She's passionate about this topic. So yeah, you don't want to miss it, next Wednesday at 8:00.
That's gonna be good. That's dope.
Yeah, it's really dope. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. So join us next week at 8:00. And until then, good night.